So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming out to theaters and IMAX screens alike in just a couple of days, and if you want to know if Tom Cruise's latest act of cinema saving is worth checking out on the big square, well, let's get into it. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place to live, talk, and buy movies. And yeah, I know this movie doesn't come out for a couple more days still, but if you do go check out the movie, come back and comment down below your thoughts on Dead Reckoning Part 1. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And yeah, can we just talk about how satisfying it is this movie's finally coming out, because this movie started filming in 2020 and of course got delayed due to COVID. And yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, we're finally caught up on movies that were supposed to come out between 2020 and 2021. I could be wrong, but it feels good, you know, it feels really good. But beyond that, no spoilers in this video, but let's start talking about the movie. And simply put, you do get what you expect from the newer Mission Impossible movies: some really impressive practical effects, some insane stunt work, and an opening title sequence that makes you want to get up and just Tom Cruise run down the street until you get hit by a bus or something. How director Christopher McQuarrie keeps making these top-notch action movies, I'll never know. This time around, Ethan Hunt and company are dealing with a key to basically this really powerful AI which can predict the future and control governments, something that's very much a point of contention right now. So, you know, it's a very timely situation for these characters to be in. And while we don't get the full extent of what this AI can do necessarily, it adds a whole new level of deception where it's like, oh, I really don't know who I can trust this time around. Everybody back from the previous movies are once again great, including Tom Cruise being an absolute mad lad, and Rebecca Ferguson just being a complete badass. And we do have some new welcome additions, including Haley Atwell, who plays a jewel thief who gets roped up into Ethan Hunt's crew and has to help save the world. You know how that goes. As well as Pom Klementieff, whose actions definitely speak louder than words. Literally, she has like very minimal dialogue, but she kicks a lot of ass in this movie. It's really cool. Both of them are clearly being set up for bigger things in part 2, so I can't wait to see what they do there. Now, the big thing most people come to these Mission Impossible movies for are the really impressive stunts. There's always that one really impressive stunt that they highlight more than anything in the marketing, whether it be Tom Cruise hanging off the side of a plane midair, or that really impressive one-shot base jumping sequence from Fallout. This time we get Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle off a cliff and parachuting onto a train, which, yeah, is super cool, but I feel like it's not as insane as things we've gotten before. And that's kind of my main issue with this particular movie, is it feels like it doesn't ever really top Mission Impossible Fallout, which I'm not necessarily faulting them for, because Mission Impossible Fallout is just a masterclass of action filmmaking, and yeah, I wouldn't want to have to try to beat that movie either. Long story short, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 still delivers on what you want from a Mission Impossible movie, and I've pretty much learned since Top Gun Maverick came out last year to just never question Tom Cruise. Ever. But how was Tom Cruise's latest act of cinematic mad laddery on the big square? Well, let's talk about that next, shall we? On the technical side, the movie was shot partially on the Sony Cinealta Venice, the same camera used in Top Gun Maverick, designed specifically for the IMAX screen, so there's that. Now, I was really hyped to see this movie in IMAX because I had never seen a Mission Impossible movie in IMAX before, so I was like, alright, cool, this is gonna be an awesome experience, it's gonna blow off my sock holes. So about that, unfortunately the movie maintains a 2:3:9 aspect ratio throughout the entire runtime, never once expanding to the full 1:9:0. That is disappointing. I've talked before how I can forgive that for IMAX releases like John Wick and Spider-Verse and things like that, but here it just left me confused. Why wouldn't you take full advantage of the IMAX frame? It did wonders for Top Gun Maverick last summer, and then I thought to myself, okay, this is not really based on my experience with the franchise in the past, so maybe they just never did that for these movies. But then a little bit of research showed that for Mission Impossible Fallout, and Ghost Protocol that, yeah, there were moments where they did open up to the full IMAX frame for the action sequences you would expect them to. I don't know why they didn't do that for this movie, especially for the one big action scene of Tom Cruise going off the cliff and all that. It just feels like a real missed opportunity. Now, that's not to say that completely ruins the IMAX experience or anything like that, because it's still a massive screen with a really high quality projector, so it still gives you a chance to just soak in all the cool chases and stunt work, like the finale on the train that goes straight into a cliff a la Back to the Future 3, which was done practically, by the way, and that is super cool. Sound-wise, the IMAX almost always delivers, and I think one of the strongest elements in this movie are a handful of sequences where there's no music whatsoever, it's all in the sound effects and the dialogue. A movie that knows when to drop the music for a more effective moment is A-okay in my book. Overall, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 doesn't necessarily top Mission Impossible Fallout, but that doesn't change the fact this is still a masterfully created movie that just feels like summer blockbuster fine dining, and I can't wait to see what they do with Part 2. As for the IMAX, I would say that, yeah, I think it's still certainly worth checking out on the big square. I just feel like it doesn't take advantage of the format like other Mission Impossible movies have done before. We still have Oppenheimer in 2 weeks, which was shot on good old 70mm film, and I may or may not be planning a trip to go check out Oppenheimer in 70mm IMAX, but that's neither here or there at this moment. So for the movie itself, I'm going to give it a gold unboxing machete, and for the IMAX experience, I'm going to give that a silver unboxing machete. But if you want to see my thoughts on the latest Indiana Jones in IMAX, I got just the video right here. Otherwise, subscribe if you live talking by movies, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.